It's your big dog D-Funk. Yes, yes, y'all. It is Funny Fridays, and we do it like this each and every Friday night. I always like to bring somebody in who's very, very funny, who I think deserves the spotlight. And today, I got my man, Mr. Chris Flail. What up, Chris?
Thank you, D-Funk. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, man. No problem, bro. You know, I appreciate you. I really appreciate you coming through.
Oh, of course, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So, let me ask you this. What's up? Are we good? All right. So, let me ask you this, man. How long have you been doing stand-up?
Going on 8 years, so seven and change right now, man.
7 and change.
Old head. It goes fast.
Yeah, it does, man. I mean, it's like the first year is a grind, and then after you get to your fourth year, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
And you look back.
Yeah, you do your first year as a grind, and then
Right.
your fourth year you go, I have this thing figured out, and then your sixth year you go, I don't know anything.
Oh, yeah, I don't know shit. I don't know
you
shit.
just kind of start.
Yeah.
And then it just comes to the point where some weeks you feel like you're on it, and
Right.
then some weeks you feel like, I guess I'm back to 1 year.
Exactly.
1 year 7 times.
Exactly, man. It's crazy,
How about
man.
you? How long have you been at it?
Oh, man.
This is great, by the way, because normally
okay.
we're in the back of rooms where we don't get to talk to each other.
Uh-huh.
This is like I started a podcast forever ago that I
Okay.
haven't done in a long time, but
Okay.
it's so nice to sit down with buddies that you never really get to know because you're in the back of clubs all the time.
Yeah,
So
and you
I
have to
look
be
forward to getting to chat
quiet
with you
because
first.
you have to be quiet because there's somebody performing
Yeah.
and you don't want to step on toes. You
Yeah.
know, like, hey, how you doing, man? What's happening?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, but yeah, it is good to have a platform where we can just chat and talk about comedy and
Yeah.
the world of comedy. I've had so many interesting conversations with all the cats on that board and then some, because that's the
illustrious board.
second board that we've had. I mean,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's crazy. But today it's all about you, brother. It's all about you.
man.
So, what made you decide to say, hey, I want to pick up a microphone and I want to make people laugh?
Well, tell me what it was. What you think about it? I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, so
All right.
we had there's no industry out there. I know here it's kind of, you have clubs out here and all
Uh-huh.
that. You're not near Hollywood, but you got comedy clubs and all that.
Right.
I grew up, and when I was 10, 11 years old is
Mm-hmm.
when Comedy Central Presents came out with those big heavy hitter specials. Of,
Oh, yeah.
Dave Attell and Mario Cantone and Nick Swartzen and, and all these people all these great specials were coming out, and I used to just suck that up religiously. Like
Yeah.
the first actual movies I ever had was like Rodney Dangerfield, Back to
Yep.
School, and
Yep.
Eddie Murphy, Coming to America,
Oh,
and
shit.
like all this stuff. Yeah, so
Yeah, I used to suck up Def Comedy Jam.
Yes.
Man, like crazy, man. I used
Yes.
to stay up to watch it, and in living color.
when I first got to college in 2005, I got a Def Comedy Jam DVD, and it just happened. It was the Bernie Mac I Ain't Scared.
Oh,
it was that one.
You motherfuckers. Yeah,
It was that one. So I
yeah.
just watched that all the time. But because I was a bit naive as a kid, and because I grew up where there was no industry, it just
Right.
never occurred to me. I don't know if I thought these people, like, they were anointed as comedians, but I never had the idea that you could go somewhere and try it out, and like it's a job you can
Right.
work to get up the ranks. And then I moved to Oklahoma to go to school, and when I moved out there, they had a comedy club there. So
Okay.
I used to go all the time. And by the way, that was the first time I ever learned what road acts were.
What was the name of the club?
The Looney Bin.
The
in Tulsa.
Looney
So they've
Bin,
got one
all
in
right.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, I think Fayetteville, Arkansas,
Okay.
and somewhere else. It's
Okay.
like one of those little chains.
All right.
And it was the first time I ever learned what road acts were, because
All right.
before that I only saw big timers on Comedy Central.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
so
yeah,
now
yeah.
I see your general like road dog out there earning it, out there DJ hit my song to
Yeah,
and I'm watching
grinding.
yeah, and I'm watching these guys, and half the time I'm sitting in the back of the room and I'm going, I could do this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I could do what Cowboy Bob's doing or whatever out there. And so it turns out they had an open mic, and what you would do is, it was really established, where you would go and they would do a raffle where you'd pick a little piece of paper,
Okay.
and it would say yes or no.
Yeah.
And if you got a yes, the next Tuesday, I think it was, you could perform and do 4 minutes. You can't
4
curse.
minutes. Wow.
You get off at 4 minutes. if you're on at 4.5 minutes, they shut the lights and your mic off and embarrass you.
Oh, that's the worst.
So that's where I started, and it took me 3 or 4 weeks to finally get up on stage.
Okay.
And I pulled the yes, and I was like, oh shit, now I gotta.
Now it's real.
And then that's where it was on from that point forward. So I'd done it like 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
And then after school, I moved out to Bakersfield, California.
Bakersfield.
They had just started an open mic. It was kind of a dead scene at the time.
Okay.
A buddy of mine who now works at the Comedy Store had just started an open mic out there that was every Wednesday at this bowling alley that there were allegedly multiple murders.
Wait a minute, a bowling alley where there was murders and you had a comedy show.
Yeah.
How can you do comedy when you have bowling balls hitting bowling pins in the background of the show? I mean, that's distracting a little bit, don't you think?
Big time. So I'll rephrase. So
Okay, go ahead. Do you think?
It was a nightclub attached to a bowling alley.
All
Now
right.
the bowling alley was in a section of town where if you go to the bowling alley,
Right.
you've got to go through a metal detector and 2 security pat downs to get into the bowling alley.
Holy shit! All right.
The nightclub attached, just walk right in.
Yeah. Oh,
You just walk right in, and at the back of the nightclub is a door that opens to bowling alley.
The bowling alley.
So,
wow.
So yeah, it was not exactly well protected, and it was a place of ill repute. And we were there on Wednesday nights, and
Okay.
it was a rowdy crowd. And
What's the wildest thing you ever saw there?
guy showed us a gun one time. My second time there, which was my 8th time doing stand-up comedy.
Okay.
About 13 dudes got up, pointed at me, walked outside, and surrounded my car.
Oh shit! For what? What'd you say?
So I was on stage. There was a dude heckling him and me, and the only thing the crowd responded to was being mercilessly made fun of.
Okay.
So I went in on this guy, and he came to the stage and tried to take the microphone.
Oh no, you don't do that.
Yeah, and I have a better patience than I do now.
Right.
Or have worse than I do now.
Right.
So he came to the stage, and I put a hand on his chest and kind of pushed him away.
Right.
And he went, and I just kind of ended it by saying, hey, don't do this to anybody. It's fine with me. Don't do this to any of my friends.
Exactly.
4 or 5 comics later, my buddy Ben Bradley's on stage.
Ben
He's
Bradley,
a power
okay.
lifter now, big old dude now.
All right.
He's on stage. This guy gets back up on stage. He's on stage now, the heckler, trying to take the microphone.
Oh, he's on stage now. Oh shit.
So quote security kind of ushers him out, and when he's at the door, he and I start jawing with each other.
Oh damn.
And then this big dude pops up behind him, really big guy.
Okay.
And I have a bad attitude, so he and I start jawing.
Oh.
I go back inside. Those 2 guys go into their party in the corner of the room, and they kind of whisper, and then everybody gets up and walks past. He points at me.
Oh shit.
I just did 10 minutes on telling everybody I'm from Pennsylvania. My
Right.
little Pontiac still has a Pennsylvania license plate, so
Oh, shit.
they walk right out, and they surround my car.
Oh.
And that's when I find out security goes, hey, I guess we can call the cops or something, but we can't.
Yeah.
We have no jurisdiction past the speed bump. You're on your own. And so
Wow, really?
so we were at the point where the show was about to be over. And so I just go to walk out. I'm like, I guess I'm just going to face the music here. And at fortunate timing, I walked out just as I guess they got tired of
Okay.
it, and they just disbanded. They just happened to disband as I walked out the door. So if
That's
you were,
good.
If you
That's
were
good.
inside the nightclub, you thought that I went out there and they
Yeah, they
chased
had
them away.
you. Yeah.
I know they had no idea I was coming outside, so I
Exactly.
got lucky. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it was that kind of place, and so we were there for 6 months, and at the end of this 6 months, 2 weeks before they shut us down, my buddy who was hosting, the crowd just didn't give a shit at all.
You want to talk about the school of hard knocks, man?
Oh, it's terrible. And he was giving out these things. The place was called Martinis.
Okay.
And he was giving out gift certificates called Martinis Bucks, $20,
Nice.
which would buy you like 1,000 beers.
Nice.
So he was just asking questions and throwing these out to the audience, and that's all they cared about. And I tapped a buddy and I said, just so you know, this is the last night of open mic comedy and the first night of trivia weekly.
Right.
And sure enough, they shut us down. 2 weeks after they shut us down,
Yeah.
there was a murder just outside the parking lot. Someone was shot and killed.
Damn.
And if over that 6 months, if you would have asked someone to prepare a short list of
Right.
who was likely to be killed if someone were killed in or outside of Martinis,
Right.
I'd have to be on the top
You
3.
would be on the list?
I'd have to be on the top 3.
Damn, so you were roasting the hell out of people
That's
then.
all they would respond to. And I'm talking take microphone into the crowd
Yeah.
and roast a dude with an ankle bracelet and a
Well,
weapon.
listen, man, we just did a show together, and when you grabbed the mic and you were talking to the crowd and the audience that was there, man, I was like, this dude has got a hell of a command
Thank you.
of the crowd and of people who are sitting, you know, right in front of him
Yeah.
with the microphone, and you can direct your energy and your voice right at these people. Some people have that, some people don't,
Yeah.
you know, but you definitely got it. Have you ever thought about doing like voiceovers or character for like cartoons or anything like that? You got that kind of voice.
I'd love to do it. It's funny. I had an old teacher say that I had that kind of voiceover radio type voice. And by the way, whoever's listening got to hear you do the read before this. He has no notes that he was doing that from. You just did that. You did, very impressive, by the way. Just
Thank
like
you.
you were saying with me in the crowd.
Thank you.
And I don't know if it took you time to build this skill, but
Yeah.
for me, for the longest time, so there were two things that would happen when I started doing comedy.
Okay.
One, it would take me a little, like I wrote out every word and memorized it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like obsessed over it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Then after a couple months, I got to the point where I could play with the room, kind of like you were talking about at the
Right,
room we did together.
right.
But after I played with the room, if it went well, I couldn't follow it or transition into material.
Oh.
It took forever to kind of find those smooth wavelengths.
The
of
transitions.
it was like
Yep.
one, and I could do one and not the other, then one and not the other,
Right.
and finally kind of figure it out through the fire.
Well, I tell you, my transitions are rough, and I like it like that. I like to go from, you know, talking about when I die
Yeah.
to, you know, talking about weed. You know, it's like, hey, fuck it.
That's
you know,
fun.
You know, it's like it's spontaneous.
That's fun, and it's funny. It's like an Achilles heel thing. What your strengths can be your weaknesses. Like you
Right.
said, one of the things I like to do, and I'm naturally geared towards, is trying to connect with a crowd and like take time and give a kind of storyline to the crowd.
Right.
Can also get me in trouble because a lot of my act depends on pacing. So we were talking about doing bar shows where there's a lot of
Oh, my
noise,
goodness, yeah.
where there's not hecklers but just general talkers.
General noise.
I will often die on the vine in those types of rooms because
Yeah.
pacing and silence and timing and wordplay is all part of my thing.
You
So
know-
it makes for some long nights when you're in one of those rugged rooms.
For me, I've had a hard time up until about maybe 3 months ago finding comfort in silence
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah.
You know, because I wanted to get a joke off. I wanted to get a laugh. I wanted to get an applause break. I wanted to get a reaction, something.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not warranted.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have to get it.
Right.
Silence sometimes can be golden because it lets people absorb what the fuck you just said
Sure.
for the last 5 minutes.
I don't know about you, but I had to learn the lesson the hard way to not tell the crowd how they're being, because they only go to one show every once in a while. So I
Yeah.
used to host a room every week, and
Yeah.
if a crowd was weird, sometimes I'd come at them and tell them that sometimes they don't know they're enjoying themselves. They're just not a big audible crowd.
Exactly.
And then I go, what's wrong with everybody in this
Yeah,
room?
you guys are fucking
What's
weird.
wrong? Everybody sucks in this room. Just
Right.
projecting my insecurity.
Right, right.
Especially early stages in comedy.
Oh,
when
yeah.
when I was like really struggling,
Uh-huh.
I'd have coworkers come out, and if they had a bad time, finally I got up one time. I said, "Hey, just don't come.
Yeah.
just don't come, because I feel worse if you're here and this goes off the rails."
And they're having a great time, but
Having a
they
great
just
time.
aren't verbalizing,
Yeah.
you know, or you don't get the belly laughs that you want,
Yeah.
you know, but they're still enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, that happened to me a few times. Like, I would have a show and I wouldn't get as many laughs as I thought.
Right.
And I'd have people come up to me afterwards, hey man, that was a great show. You did wonderful. You were funny, but I was like, well, why the fuck didn't you laugh then?
Yeah.
You know, so I get that.
I just did a show on Saturday in Los Banos.
Oh, wow.
Where I was up on stage, and I could see faces, but I'm up there, and like the first 4 minutes,
Mhm.
fine. The next 6 or 8 minutes, I felt like was death.
Really?
And then closed out okay, and just kind of came off stage and felt bewildered. The comic who went up next after me,
Uh-huh.
really good comic, her name's Jean Yee. She went
Okay.
up and she did fantastic.
Is she Asian?
Destroyed the room. Yeah, crowd work. Like
Ah.
she destroyed the room.
Yeah.
She comes up. Like I go to the back when she comes off the stage. She comes off stage and she goes, "Well, 2 minutes of that was good, and the rest was a disaster." So it's just
Oh,
it was
fuck.
one of those rooms that when you're on stage, you can't. the acoustics are you couldn't hear the back of the
Right,
room.
right.
So up there it feels like I'm dead up there.
I see. Yeah, I guess maybe that's how it was for the show we did, because I felt like I did good the first 5 to 8 minutes, and then after that I just kind of died. Mouth got dry. It was bad.
I'm telling you did well. I thought you did real well.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do, man. But our next show we do together is going to be even doper,
That's
man.
right.
It's going to be in a real room,
That's
real
right.
funny room, and we're going to have a great time, man.
I wish I could come see you when you do your run in LA.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
man. Yeah. I'm
Doing
on
the
my
clubs,
way,
baby.
man. Yeah, buddy. Got to hit that got to hit that Comedy Chateau. I'm trying to get into Comedy Store and of course Laugh Factory and all those other ones. I'll
Sure.
be there though.
Sure.
It's just gonna take some more grinding and some more time.
Well, you're all over the clubs up here too. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. They're starting to say, wait a minute.
That's right. That's right.
You know what, motherfucker? Weren't you just here last week?
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna keep coming every week.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
call it a comeback.
Exactly.
How long have you been at it?
Comedy. I started in the year 2000.
Oh wow! So
Yeah.
you've been at it.
Yeah.
Who am I to talk about comedy lessons
Oh
here?
man,
You've
no
been
man,
through it, man.
no. The reason why I'm just now making the right choices is because I spent so much time making the wrong choices early on.
Yeah. No.
Hanging out with the wrong crowd, doing the things that are taboo to stand up,
Yeah.
losing work because of crowds I'd hang out with who were smoking weed in front of the comedy club, and I'd just be there. It's like, oh come on. So that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But
was this in Sacramento you started?
Yeah, Sacramento. Yep, this is my hometown.
What was comedy life here? What did comedy look like here in 2000 as opposed to what it looks like today?
Comedy in 2000 was abundant.
Okay.
There were a lot of rooms. There were, I believe, Tommy T's was here, and so we had 3 comedy clubs. Tommy T's, shout out to them. Shout out to Laughs Unlimited and the Punchline, of course, Sacramento Punchline. All of those rooms. Plus, you had, of course, people putting on their own shows. I was actually putting on shows when I first started,
Nice.
more so than getting on shows, because I had the radio platform in order to promote and to get shows off the ground, fill the room, blah blah blah. So I produce a lot of shows instead of just performing. So it was abundant because of that.
Yeah.
Back then, Sacramento was a lot more receptive to performing arts, I have to say, than they are now. With the pandemic kind of waning, though, it's coming back.
Yeah.
And there's I feel a little saturation.
Oh, good.
So that's why I'm starting to move my comedy down south.
Yeah.
Although there is a lot of saturation there.
Well, that's it. But you're right. If you're gonna deal with saturation, you might as well deal with it in the market for it.
Mm-hmm.
I just moved up here in July.
Okay.
So I lived in Bakersfield for 7 years.
All right.
And they had a scene, they had a scene about 10, 11 years ago, and then that kind of died out.
All right.
And people had just restarted what it is now today when I had gotten there. So we had, from bare bones. And so we kind of built this thing up. We had this one room that fit maybe 100 people, 80 comfortably, but 100. We had that for about 6 months. Then I got my room, which is still going, it's called Temple Brewing Company.
All right.
What it was they, it's a group of owners who bring in big shows. So like Joey Diaz,
All
like
right,
Theo
all right,
Vaughn,
all right.
Jay Moore is going to be there
Oh, nice.
next week.
I like Jay.
Those kind of big acts.
Yeah.
And they wanted to branch out to the local scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy who ran comedy there is a lawyer, and so he heard about me.
Right.
We connected with each other. And they were talking about doing a monthly open mic there, and I said,
Nice.
"Why don't you let me do it weekly, and we'll just see what happens."
Well, let me ask you this. This is, like me, I'm always all over the place, but who inspires you as far as comedy goes? Give me one person. I usually ask for 3, but I'm asking for 1 today. One person that inspires you to do what you do on stage.
Yeah, well,
who that is?
The first one that really got me into it, which is more acceptable to say now than it was 13 months ago.
Okay.
But my first foray in was I was a Carlin guy, but then I was a Louis C.K. guy. So
All right.
when I was in school, I found the Louis C.K. special Shameless.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't have cable at the time, so I would
Right.
just watch Shameless every night before bed.
Okay.
And I nerded out over it so much that I took the back of a notebook and I outlined it like a class.
Wow.
Because if you go back and you watch the special, and I heard his story about it afterwards. So what happened was he had an HBO sitcom called Louie.
Yeah.
After I think his one season, they canceled it.
Right. I watched that. It was actually pretty good.
That's what they say. Is that it was real good. It was just ahead of its time, and they canceled it.
Yeah, kind of like a Seinfeld, but on a next level.
Deeper. Deeper hitting.
Yeah.
And so he had negotiated to do this comedy special, and so he had this sitcom that ran out. Felt like at the end of the road. He films this comedy special that he's had in the chamber he had this act in the chamber for a couple years.
Right.
And I watched it, and to me it was just a masterpiece because I like diving deeply into things. So he does a couple things. So like he starts out with it like it's absurdist humor. Like you can just see that it's just this kind of weird stuff.
All right.
And then he's the first time. So I kind of learned about people doing callbacks from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, I work on that. It's hard though.
So he was the first person I ever saw, and if you go back and watch, you'll see it where he starts a joke for one bit.
Okay.
Then he inserts another bit.
Okay.
Then another full premise.
Right.
Then he inserts another one. And then he closes out on this one, and then goes back to the first joke that he originated with, and closes out on that one.
Genius.
With just maybe a transition word or two, and so he starts out, I think it's been a long time since I've watched, but he talks about being a fat guy, and he talks about he's a fat guy and how he can't like wash, and then he starts talking about hating people. So this bit, and then he closes on what he was talking about with the fat guy.
Originally. Nice.
Then
so
he starts
comes
off,
back to that. Oh man.
Then he does it again where he says he's walking into a bagel shop and he tells the crowd that he's got a shirt that says "Awesome Possum."
Okay.
And he talks about how then he does a bit. Then he does another bit. Then he might do another bit. Then he says he sees a guy wearing his shirt.
Yeah.
And he tries to connect with the guy, and the guy blows him off. And he goes into this big thing, and and then he ends by saying, "And then I look down and realize I'm not wearing the shirt."
Oh,
so he
shit.
connects this whole thing, and then makes himself wrong. And I'm like, I've never seen a comedian do all these things.
Yeah.
And that was like, now I'm in. If I can try to work towards as a craftsman doing that.
Well,
sorry, that's a very long-winded.
No, you're good, man. That's what we do here, man. We give the long wind because this is a conversation that needs to be had, and these are conversations that need to be had because we don't get a lot of opportunity to voice our opinions about what we do. You know, especially on a platform like this where it's worldwide. We're on YouTube. Make sure you click like and subscribe to us. Thank you very much.
East Coast, by the way, you said too, is the East Coast.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania
East Coast.
people, you better be listening to this.
Yeah, PA, what up?
Your
what
boy
up?
made good. I'm with Defunct the Legend.
Yeah.
And we go way back.
You know how we do it.
Yeah.
So check it out. What is your favorite place to perform at?
Ooh.
I know that's a hard one. I have 3, but I'm going to ask you for, give me 3.
Favorite venue?
Yeah, venue.
Favorite venue, and I'm gonna be biased.
Yeah, you have to be on this question, man.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Favorite venue is the one that I called home, Temple Brewing Company.
Okay.
Just fantastic. They've got a main room that's $325 for the big shows.
Wow.
We've got a side room that's $250.
Okay.
Now, the room itself is not set up at all for comedy. It's
really?
Giant ceilings, huge stage.
Oh man.
Both rooms go back tremendously far. They did a great job working on the acoustics, but it's a brewery, so it used to bounce off the walls.
But there's a stage.
There's a stage,
which is important.
and there's a crowd. Like I used to put on shows where I would not tell you. I'd bring a good act, but I would not tell you. So I brought Ian Edwards one time.
Oh.
No one knew Ian Edwards was coming.
Okay.
Until I just put up. We called it Streets of Bakersfield.
Right.
Me and my buddy Dan Betts started this thing, Streets of Bakersfield Comedy Showcase. And I would just hang that banner. And you would show up, and I would bring somebody for you, but 225 people would show up just to whatever they were going to see.
225?
Yep. So it's that kind of. It's like the town, the community really.
Man, that's a dream.
Really rallies around this room.
That's a dream right there.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is the place that we really got started in Bakersfield. It was called Rocket Shop. It was that 80-person room, and they hung with us for about 5.5 years.
Nice.
And it had a heyday where it was packed all the time. it had a time where there would be we would show up to open mics and there'd be nobody there.
Right.
There'd be one person there. It
Right.
was death for like 2
Oh,
years.
been there.
My buddy Dan took that room over and grew it again, and then it turned into this big. Eventually, they sold the room, and it just whatever. But
Yeah.
it was one of those places like I was there for 6 years, so you step on the stage, like
Right.
I know the creaks in the stage, the
Exactly.
way you know a basketball. Like I'm a basketball guy.
Okay,
The
cool.
way you're
Who's
home.
your team?
Oh, I'm a whore with that. So I used to be Bulls in the Jordan days. I was
too.
Lakers in
Me
the
too.
Kobe days.
Nah.
Now I just kind of float. But it's the same way that when you've got a court, like you know the dead spots in the court that you grew up on.
Okay, okay.
That's how I feel about the
Wow.
rocket shop.
So when you get up there, you feel like a true professional
That's right.
comedian.
That's right.
That's dope.
Number 3, anywhere in San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
I love performing in that town.
All right.
Smart crowds.
Yep.
They always turn out. They're lighthearted because they live in the happiest place on earth.
Yeah, no stress.
Yep. And they like the deeper stuff.
Yeah, yeah. They
And
don't
it's-
like that shallow shit.
But they still make you earn, and it's a really good crowd.
Okay.
And they're always building a good scene out there. So
Yeah.
they got like 4, 5, 6 different shows out there that are humming right now.
Really?
I'm going down to one of them in February.
Let me know about it, man.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah, give me the
I'll
report.
put you in touch with the people.
Yeah, man, because I want to hear how it went.
Yeah,
You know?
they got a ton of people out there that
All
have a
right.
real good thing going. How about you? Favorite thing?
Ooh, that's rough. There's a casino in Coos Bay, Oregon,
Okay.
that I really like to do. I haven't done it in a while. I really like Haha Cafe
Great time.
in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Here in Sacramento, pretty much it's a toss-up between both Punchline and Laughs Unlimited.
Yeah.
Either one, I feel like I can do well.
Yeah.
Any place where the people come to laugh,
Yeah.
and they come for comedy,
Yeah.
and they know what they're going to get when they sit their ass down in the chair, and they sit there for that reason, not to holler at somebody else or try to get somebody home
Yeah.
or any of that bullshit. They come to laugh. That's where I want to be at.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
The casino in Oregon. When
It's
did you do
called-
that, and what do you love about
I
it?
haven't done it in about 10
It's
years.
still going?
It should be. Yeah. Last time I checked with my guy Rick Polito, he said it was still going. As a matter of fact, he said they were playing our footage from the show, and this is when I was drinking heavily. I was in that Hennessy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Woo, man. I don't drink now, but when I was in that Hennessy, boy, and hosting,
Yeah.
I was the life of the party because it was the Coast Guard. They would come out for the shows.
Oh, okay.
And the Coasties are cool as fuck, man.
Yeah.
They're the police of the sea, but they're hella cool, man. I really dig them.
Nice.
So we performed for them, and it was just a fun room every time we went up there.
Nice.
I mean, it really was, and it was always our last stop because we go from here all the way up north, and then some east, and then come back through and Montana and all that shit. So
Nice.
it was a good room though.
Nice.
And they came for comedy. It was a bar, but I think it's called Bar 101 or something 101. I'm not Station 101, something like that.
Yeah.
Nice stage, nice room, nice venue.
Love
So
it.
yeah, that I'd have to say that one right now. And then the atmosphere outside. I mean, you're right on the bay. You're right on the water.
Yeah.
So they have the greatest food. They have
What kind?
wedgie fries, man. Not
We
regular.
talking Chick-fil-A wedge fries?
Yeah, man. Not regular skinny fries. I'm talking about wedgies.
I hate skinny fries. I hate crinkle cut
Yeah,
fries. I'm a
fuck
wedge
them.
fry. Give me a waffle fry any
Yeah,
day.
yeah, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. Wedgie fries. All right. All right. So, how can we get a hold of you on your socials?
At Chris Flail on Instagram. At Chris Flail on Twitter, I never use it, and then Chris Flail Comedy on Facebook is the one that I've gotten kind of off and rolling. I was doing, during the pandemic, I was doing sketches for about a year.
Okay.
Here, I'll tell you a heartbreaker.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Lay it down.
I was doing sketches for about a year.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember when the Twisted Tea thing happened? The
Twisted
video,
Tea.
dude in a convenience store smacks him with a
Yep.
Twisted Tea.
I remember that.
Okay. I filmed a sketch called Twisted Tea Weapons Safety Course.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and so it takes off.
Yeah.
It gets to about 350,000 views.
Woo.
It's like 10,000 shares.
Damn.
And when you have a public page, each time someone likes your video,
Right.
you can invite them to like your page.
Okay.
So
okay.
now I've got like 11,000 people I can invite to my page, to the point where Facebook is limiting me per day. I can only
Yeah.
invite 200 a day.
Yeah, I know. They did that to me with my friends list.
It comes down. It gets taken down because it gets flagged for violence,
Violence?
and it gives me the option to appeal it.
What?
I appeal it. I win the appeal.
Yeah.
They send me a note that says, occasionally we get it wrong.
Right.
We're going to put this back up. They put it back up. It takes off again. It gets toward 500,000 views. They take it down again for hate speech.
Hate speech?
I say 2 words. By the way, I leave off the word that the guy says, because I don't want those cheap views of
Right.
people who are watching it for the wrong reason.
Exactly.
2 words that I've said that could be considered, that could have been flagged.
What are they?
One, I said the word racist.
All right.
And 2, I said the word honky. One
Okay,
of those,
yeah,
one of those,
man.
got me taken off, and they gave me no option to
It's
appeal.
not like you dropped an N-bomb
They
or...
they gave me no option to appeal, and
Wow.
it's just gone.
Wow.
I think that's the last sketch I did, because every idea I have, I'm like, well, something could flag at any given moment. So
I'm telling you
it's
right
just
now,
kind of
dog.
died there. But I had my chance.
Man, I tell you what, dog, you're a better man than me, because I not only are you the first person I ever met that had passed the bar. Congratulations
Thank
on
you,
that,
my
by the way.
friend. Thank you, my friend.
You're a better man than me, because I'll be looking for Mark Zuckerberg right now.
Yeah, man.
Fuck Mark Zuckerberg for that shit.
Yeah.
I would be looking for his little skinny ass,
Trying.
hunting this motherfucking ass down. Shit, my shit got that many views and likes and love and sharing and this, and you gonna shut me down?
The funny thing is, so I posted it that night, and it's so hard. And I don't know if you go through this, but I have a tough time with. I don't need the accolades, but if I participate, if I put something out and
Right.
it doesn't get responses, it feels like an indictment on my work, and it makes me feel self-conscious.
Oh yeah,
So
I know how that is.
I'm at that point where I'm at the end of the rope, and this Twisted Tea thing happens, and
Okay.
I'm like, I can make a sketch about a current event, and I've spent the last year making sketches, so I do this thing. I'm between podcasts when I record it. I record my
Okay.
sketch for 25 minutes. I spend 60, so in 90 minutes, I do the editing, I put it up.
Right.
I put it up, and I go to the grocery store, and I look at it,
Yeah.
and my head's chopped off.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
You have to open it up to get me in full screen.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I go, there's no way anyone's going to do it full screen.
Right,
So
right.
I call my buddy Dan and I go, man, I finally had the chance.
Yeah.
I screwed up the format. There's no way I could know, but I screwed up the formatting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day I wake up and there's like 12,000 views, and I'm like,
shit.
And I'm like, well, that's a lot.
Wow.
And then it just kept
kept
going.
growing?
It just kept going. So I went to bed going, I screwed it up, but at least I gave it the shot.
Yeah, and you
went
got
to bed,
views.
woke
Yeah.
up, and it just So that one was my shot to grow the page.
Right.
I gotta get back to work on it, but it's one of
Okay.
those. It's been taking a while to work myself back up to it.
I'd like to do some stuff with you,
We
man,
should.
on your page. That'll be dope.
We
Man.
should.
I haven't done any sketches in a while. I did a few with a friend of mine, Cole Black, and D. Tyler. We used to do.
Just worked with D. Tyler.
Yeah,
Great comic.
Yeah, he's the man, bro. He's got a mind like none other.
Great
He's a
comic.
genius.
I got to see in a loud room where they weren't allowing him to do the art.
Right.
But I got to see the structure of his act, and I was like, that's the guy I want to work with.
He's a genius.
In a room where there's a crowd here for
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You got to work with him as many times as possible, because he's dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, we used to do sketches all the time, but Cole kind of got out of it, and he was the one with the camera, and blah blah blah. But yeah, I'd like to work with you, man.
That'd be
We should
great.
do some shit.
Yeah, that'd be
You
great.
know, we should get together, man. I can do some characters and whatnot.
Sure.
I put on a dress, do my Medea thing. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to cover before
No, I
we?
just appreciate you having me, man. This is
man,
great.
come on.
The studio's fantastic. This thing is great. I appreciate you letting me be a part of it, man.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
doubt, man. It's about time I had you on the show. I've been meaning to get you on the show.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get as many people as I can,
Yeah.
but I had to have you on.
And I got to tell
this
you,
week.
comedy scenes, like I said, I came up here in the summer. Comedy scenes can be chilly. It's tough to ingratiate yourself into one.
Uh-huh.
You, from the start, were one of the friendliest people one of the most welcoming people. So I really appreciate you for that.
I appreciate that, man. That just comes from learning, from back in the day how, I got shunned and,
Sure.
People gave me the cold shoulder, treated me like shit, tried to throw dirt on my name, all that kind of shit. It happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be that guy. I'm always going to be the guy that's going to be like, hey, man, you can do it. Keep grinding. Do your thing, man. I'm in your corner. I'm rooting for you because I know how hard of a grind this shit is.
Yeah.
And I know when you have a passion for it, there's nothing that can stop you.
Yeah. That's
You know what I
it's
mean?
about, man.
All right, so what's your next show? Shout that out, man. Promote.
Next show, I forget where it is, but it's next week. Some place called second week of February. I got a show Wednesday in Paso Robles
All right.
at Poorhouse.
Okay.
Thursday, Bakersfield at the Well. Friday, Bakersfield at the Well. Saturday, Bakersfield Great Change Brewing.
Wow.
Monday, Out of Bounds Brewing in Folsom on
Okay.
Valentine's Day. Unless you hate love, come out and see us.
Yeah.
Me, Augustina Zoida,
Uh-huh.
and E. Reed. Do you know a man named E. Reed? Is gonna be emceeing?
E. Reed. If I saw him, I'm better with faces.
Okay.
Better with faces.
It's going to be a good one.
Okay, cool. I'm going to be on L Street, my next one for Big Stump.
Nice.
Brewing Company. It'll be the
Nice.
first time I've been there, but I heard that it's a great room. They come for comedy, and they pack it out, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
That's going to be good. Tonight we're going to hit up Vince's. Hey, listen here, man. Okay, hold on. Time out. Okay, look. Vince's
Yep, do it.
Restaurante,
Do
okay? West Sacramento. It is a great room. If you have never been, take your black, white, green, yellow, purple ass down there
That's right.
and go support it. My man Danny Luna hosts
That's
every Friday night, and he hosts the hell out of it. Comics come and show up. There's a trophy, there's cash prizes, there's food, there's drink. I mean, just come out for comedy because we need you there.
If you get too drunk, there's a motel next door.
Yeah, it's right. You don't even have to drive. You can walk.
And if you meet somebody, there's a motel next door.
Exactly.
And they probably charge by the hour.
Exactly, and it's one of those type of motels too. Trust me, I saw a few roaches coming out the door when I was there last time. All right, man. Well, listen, we're gonna get out of here. But like I said, I want to thank you for coming. I wish you much success, much luck, and many blessings in the game. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
All right, yes, sir. This is hyperadio.com. Don't forget, subscribe right down there. YouTube page, YouTube channel. Thank you, social medias, and thank you, Chris Flail. All right, it's your big dog D-Funk, and we out, man. You know how we do. Yeah.